Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar event today. This is the first webinar in our 2017 series that is set to explore issues in the construction industry, and we'll highlight some of the ways that Cloud EPC is addressing these shortfalls. My name is Chris Hart, and I'm joined here today by Ben Hubbard, who is co-founder of Cloud EPC. Ben will be leading us through a short demo of our system here in a bit, but first, we thought it would be beneficial to give a brief overview of some of the challenges we're seeing in the construction industry today. Before I move on, I did want to mention that our time will be a bit limited today, and there are a number of features that we may not have time to discuss in detail. So if you'd like to learn more, we do offer free demos, and I encourage everyone to request a private demo session on our website, www.cloudepc.com. or you can reach out to us by phone or email, and that information will be provided at the end of our webinar today. Moving along, we would like to start out our discussion today with some current trends that we're seeing in the construction industry. To begin and to set a basis for our discussion, I think that we can all agree that there are three criteria that define project success. First and foremost, the project must be completed safely. Safety is a priority among all organizations, and for a good reason. Second, we want to be sure that a project is completed on time. Third, we of course want to be sure that a project is completed within budget. Now, that seems easy, right? Well, not exactly. Even though we understand all of the key elements for project success, we still see projects failing on a routine basis across the industry. Thousands of construction workers are injured on the job each year, and an alarming majority of projects exceed their schedule and budget, most of them quite significantly, as you see here on the slide. So why is this? I think we all know that construction projects are very complex and present a number of challenges for the entire project team. This can range from design errors to manpower shortages, weather impacts, and the list goes on and on. The one thing that we know about all projects is that change is a constant, always has been and always will be. And it's how we manage change that eventually defines the outcome of a project. Change management at its core is what steers a project from looming failure to success. And without a centralized, reliable data that we can trust, it is nearly impossible to navigate a project through challenging times. That is not something we're just dreaming up here today. According to a recent poll by KPMG, many project managers agree that organizing and trusting data is a severe problem in the industry, which can eventually lead to reactive change management practice. And this is a killer for most projects. But there is good news, and that is what we're here to talk about today. Construction technology is helping to resolve all of these issues. How is it doing so? By providing standardized tools to first give managers the ability to trust their data. Project data has to be reliable and in real time, so no more late or error-prone reports. Second, technology is allowing organizations to make use of their data through analytics, focusing on leading and not lagging indicators. And third, by giving project teams a common ground for effective communication and collaboration among all project stakeholders. And finally, by combining all of these features into one system to proactively manage changes and their impact to cost, schedule, and scope, a balance that we commonly refer to as the project management triangle. But there's still one issue. If we refer back to the same KPMG study that we referenced earlier, nearly half of project managers struggle with multiple systems to manage their projects. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Cloud EPC is helping to shape this market by bringing key project management tools into one fully integrated system that is easy to use. We do this by using a centralized platform, allowing organizations to monitor projects by managing cost and progress, track key schedule milestones, record safety incidents, perform project audits, and even record meeting minutes and action items. This enables project teams and businesses to collaborate effectively under one common platform, alleviating the burdens and errors created by tracking and reporting project health across a multitude of software systems. So how do we bring all of these tools together to help teams proactively manage project change? We do this with several key features that differentiate ourselves in the market. For starters, Cloud EPC is based on a centralized budget structure that serves as the foundation for managing data across all of our modules. This helps to promote a standardized process driving proper change management across a project. So think of it like a bank account in which a project team is measured by their ability to manage to a budget. If the budget is exceeded, only one of three things can happen. Performance ratings, commonly known as performance factors, suffer and a trend is established, signifying an overrun on the budget. A change order could be approved to cover the cost overrun, or the work is simply not completed. This simple constraint helps ensure that there is a balance between scope and budget on a project, and eventually helps to keep a project in line, performing to expectation. As a second feature, unlike old and outdated nested tree-like budgeting structures, Cloud EPC uses a dynamic infrastructure enabling multi-dimensional reporting. This empowers users with the ability to group and report data in a multitude of ways, allowing for valuable project and business analytics. Third, our workflow system provides project teams with a fully collaborative work environment. This enables modifications to the project baseline to follow a structured approval process to ensure that change is captured and approved or declined in a timely fashion. On top of that, our mobile features add to this collaborative environment, allowing for project progress to be updated on the fly. And this is critical in helping to ensure that managers are using real-time, reliable data to make decisions. Additionally, our mobile system helps to ensure that all project stakeholders stay up to speed on the project with push notifications on workflow. Also, our media manager tool allows for instant upload on progress photos, because we all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words when it comes to project reporting. So all this sounds great for helping teams manage their projects, right? The important part is that Cloud EPC doesn't stop just there. And that is another key feature that truly sets us apart in the market. Because of our centralized budget structure, we are able to roll up our data from a vast multitude of projects and report key project indicators on an enterprise level. The immediate benefit of this lies in our enterprise dashboard, which makes it simple to monitor leading project indicators in real time. Additionally, by standardizing reporting across an organization, businesses are becoming more efficient and are actually able to put their data to use by utilizing historical project data to become more competitive in future bids while marginalizing the risk in doing so. One other distinguishing feature of Cloud EPC is in its name. As a cloud-based system, we offer numerous benefits to our users, from reduced IT costs to rapid deployment across an enterprise. Project teams are seeing increased productivity with the ability to work anywhere with the internet location. Not to mention, we are always finding ways to improve our system. As we stay on the cutting edge of technology, users are immediately able to take advantage of all of our latest updates without having to wait months or even years for the next license cycle. So with the ability to quickly roll out across an enterprise, Cloud EPC has made an immediate impact on the construction industry. The system is currently being used on over $1 billion of industrial projects and has proven to pay for itself time and time again. Just as an example, on a recent biomass project, Cloud EPC was used to identify the root cause of a slipping schedule and compiling costs, which resulted in a savings of over $1.5 million, more than 600 times the license costs for the project. That alone saved the project from becoming a part of some of the concerning statistics that were presented earlier in our presentation. Cloud EPC is a system that is being adopted and praised by industry-leading contractors and owners alike. For contractors, it is a system that not only helps them forecast, plan, and manage their projects more effectively, but is also increasing the efficiency of project teams. All the same, owners are falling in love with the product as it gives them the confidence that their projects are going to be managed to the plan. So as I'm sure you can imagine, contractors that are using our system have caught on to this benefit and are using Cloud EPC to help differentiate themselves in a market that is becoming increasingly competitive with each passing year. So in summary, project stakeholders across the construction industry are finding significant value in Cloud EPC. Not only are we helping to ensure that projects are executed on time, on budget, and safely, but we are doing so in a manner that is helping organizations become more efficient, cut costs, and maximize profit margins. So now, without further ado, I would like to turn it over to Ben Hubbard to give us a quick run through of our system to showcase some of the benefits of its modern user interface. So Ben, go ahead and take it away here.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris. I was just getting set up there. So I'm going to take you guys through a quick tour of Cloud EPC and highlight some of the special features that you could expect to benefit from as a user at the organizational enterprise level as well as at the project level. You can see here that I have the main splash menu pulled up where you can see a list of all the active projects in the system. We are a system that allows you to have an unlimited number of projects. And then each project has its own framework that allows it to track it independently. But because we have a way to tag attributes to each project level, you can then roll projects up to an enterprise level and start performing analysis at the more portfolio level. So you can analyze projects by geographic region, whether it's union or non-union, the commercial terms of the contract, and a host of other different type of attributes to start looking at different ways to slice and dice your portfolio of projects. So one thing I want to harp on today is a little bit about the true integration component to this system. So if you see here, I'm clicking on this original budget tab. What this will do is this pulls up the original budget table for this particular demo project. Each project has its own budget table and is unique to the project, but there is some commonality between each project. We have a 5-tiered coding structure, which starts out with the project phase, which would be things like engineering, construction, procurement. We break down the work to the next level, which is the WBS. So this would be traditionally your area of the project. The next level is the discipline, which could be civil, architectural, mechanical, electrical. Each discipline then breaks down to an activity. So this is where you get down to kind of the same type of level you would see in your Primavera schedule. So this will be your design criteria, your specifications, your concrete foundations, your electrical cable pulls. And then the 5th component, the lowest level of detail, is the cost type, which is your labor, traditionally your labor, your material, your subcontract, your equipment. The one great thing about Cloud EPC is that we don't have, like Chris alluded to, a very nested, static tree-like structure. We allow this dynamic reporting capability by allowing any level of the work breakdown structure or the budgeting table to be reported at any other level. So what that means is you can report kind of a level 5 detail above a level 2, a level 4 above a level 1. You can basically slice and dice your data any which way, which I'll show you here in just a moment with some of the reporting outputs. One thing that makes us unique is that we have a centralized budget infrastructure of which the progress and performance, the cost, and the change management modules then hang off of, which allow us to essentially push and pull from this centralized infrastructure and always remain in balance, always be sure that project teams are aware of any out of balance accounts that may have occurred, notifications to ensure that change orders that are processed are included into the budget table and that they always tie out to your contingency provisions. So it really forces project teams through the process of best practices and really ensuring that the integrity of the data prior to any reports are generated. So what I'm going to do is a quick 3 to 5 minute rundown of each of the key modules within the system, starting with progress and performance. Our progress and performance system is a traditional earned value based structure driven by a rules of credit model. So what we do up here is you can see we have a number of different progress items, each progress item having a different allocated budget, which in this case is man hours. Percent completes are calculated at each level, and in this case, for example, if we look at electrical cable, we can track by quantities, so you can see the plan and the actual quantities that were installed, and then each milestone rule of credit gets its own weighting. So for this particular example, the install is 60%, terminating and testing is 30%, punch is 5%, and accept is 5%, giving us our 100%. As we update the progress for each particular component, you will then see that the progress will automatically calculate the progress for that particular progress item, and then the system works as a giant aggregation system, rolling up progress by each of these different budget accounts. So you can see your progress by phase, by WBS, by discipline activity, so forth. To get an example of how we track all these different things and the outputs that can come from it, you can look at our progress and performance interactive dashboard. Here we see the summary output of that particular module, which is, here's the phase, engineering, procurement, construction, for example. We can see that our early finish plan is 100% and our engineering actual percent is 67%. Same thing with construction and procurement. You can then have drill down functionality from there if you want to get a little bit further into to the early and late finish, and then from there you can even drill down to your discipline levels. So you can see how our dashboards are very interactive for variance analysis. We also have a traditional kind of industry known three-part curve, if you will, and that is that we have a progress curve which shows the early and late finish plans as well as your actual percent complete, which is tracked by the previous module I just showed you, the progress and performance progress items tracking system. We then have performance, which is essentially your performance factor, your earned versus your actual hours spent, which comes from our payroll table. We can customize integrations with any ERP or accounting system, or there's manual import templates throughout the system as well using Excel or manual entry into the user interface. And then lastly on the three-part curve is the manpower component, which is based on a full-time equivalent manpower structure for which you can set the standard work week hours for each particular phase independently. So if your engineers are working 40s and your construction guys are working 60s, you can split those out to make sure that you get the appropriate calculations. Then you have this wonderful kind of control tool capability here that allows us to filter on any of the budget items, the construction phase, the WBS, the discipline, and the activity. And when you drill down these elements, you can then start really doing variance analysis from an earned value perspective, or even just to determine, kind of where your out of balances might be. The next component I'll just show you quickly is the cost component. We have a fully integrated cost management system, which is driven by the kind of a standard traditional purchase order contracts are placed. Each particular purchase order and contract can be assigned commitments, and then expenditures are then initiated against those commitments, which then you can see in this kind of unique one-screen view that we have generated here from a user interface perspective, that you can quickly see your different purchase orders and contracts, and then you can quickly see the commitments and the expenditures that are aligned with them. That makes it a little bit easier to have all your data aggregated on one screen. You can use our interface again to add those items, or if you're working on a bigger project, we can custom integrate with your accounting system, or still again handle this through an Excel import, which allows you to quickly bring in all your data out of your accounting system or manually enter it. We have lots of different views of the information to make it easy for you to slice and dice your data sets to really determine where you're at in the project and really expedite your reporting processes. What this allows you to do, for example, in this particular view, is you can see all your different commitment items with all your various budget accounts, and then you can see all the detailed transactions that are associated with that. Again, we have all these great different views that allows you to quickly kind of slice and dice your data sets, which is really the meat and bones and the power behind Cloud EPC to allow you to leverage all this data that you're tracking. And we know that there's so much data on a project, and sometimes it can be difficult, and we want to get you guys from having to go out of a system and back into Excel and bringing that data back in to stay right here in the system, because it gives you that Excel-like functionality, it gives you that control that you want, and that's what we've really gone for here. Again, from an output perspective, we have a very similar dashboard to that of progress and performance, where you can track you can instantly identify your revenue, cost, and margin associated with the project. And again, the very similar filtering control capabilities. You can run monthly or weekly curves. You can select your date ranges, and then even draw which period you want your data to go through. You'll see here we have a commitments and expenditures curve. You can turn off and on elements of the curve for output perspectives. You can even zoom into data sets. Here you have our CPI and SPI, which follows your standard EVM calculations. Again, same filter controls. And then finally, we have your contingency and reserve drawdown capabilities to plot that over time, which again also has the same filter controls, so you can monitor the health of your contingencies and your reserves, and again export this out for reporting purposes. Every single one of these graphs has the ability to download either an image, export into a PDF, or even saved as a vector if needed for any modification or marketing efforts. And the last piece I'm going to show you here from a detailed perspective is our change management module. This is a fully integrated component. So essentially, as you add in any kind of deviation to the system, we will know to push and pull data from that budget table infrastructure to make sure that you always know the exact position in real time of where you are. We have 3 different types of deviations: traditional change orders, which impact the current budget as well as the forecast. You have budget shifts, which allow you to shift your budgets between them with a net zero impact for the dollars. And then we have trends, which is kind of a forecast only impact. Each one is assigned a priority and has a number of other attributes, such as the rough order magnitude estimate, the reason for the change, who initiated it, if a notification is required, who the client was notified. Just a wealth of great information that allows you, again, to demonstrate the outputs side of things that you'll need and get your data out, and we'll show you here in just a moment. Another key component to this is the reporting feature. So what we can do here is, if you want to see a progress and performance report, and we have a host of them, let's just run one for example. We've built an infrastructure that has a dynamic reporting capability. So what this means is that you can output in any which way you want in terms of the order of your data from a grouping and sorting and filtering perspective. So in this case, let's say I want to run my report by phase, and then I want to see it by discipline, and I'll keep, for all intents and purposes, the rest of the filter criteria the same that you're seeing here. Our reports generate on the fly, so we pull from our live data set, so you can quickly create reports from your own data on the fly without having to worry about pushing it out to Excel. You can see here we got the phase engineering, for example, and then all the disciplines underneath it, and then the aggregated subtotals accordingly. But let's say you have a particular client that says, well, that's not how I want to see my report. I actually really want to see activities, and then underneath my activities, I want to see my phases. Probably not likely, but just for all intents and purposes of demonstrating the capabilities. And let's say they say, well, I don't care about the engineering component, I just want to focus on construction. So we can generate that report again on the fly, quickly slice and dicing our data exactly the way a particular client may want it. And here you can see that each activity and it has construction only, which I filtered on under it. So you can start seeing the power of being able to basically control dynamically any level of your data any which way you want, and output this thing to meet any of your clients or your internal reporting requirements as well. The cost reporting section works exactly the same. We have some really great reports. Again, you have this dynamic control. You can select your date ranges. You can filter on any of your budget functionality. You have some great options here for whether or not you want to show margin, labor for internal and external reporting purposes. And again, you can group any which way you want. So again, I'll run a phase discipline for our standard cost report, which will then generate on the fly an output, and you can see that our reports run traditionally somewhere in 5 to 8 seconds or less. So here you can see a traditional cost report with our original and current budget, our expenditures and commitments, our to complete, our current forecast, and then a variance. So that's another output report. And then one thing I want to show you, which we are really proud of, which is one of our newest features in the system, is on the enterprise side of things. We've really just built out our safety and EHS module. And one thing we're really proud of is, like Chris alluded to, is bringing in the ability to control your data set and explore the visual outputs from a business intelligence perspective, the things that might be impacting your safety program, so that you can fine-tune your training initiatives and all of your preventative practices that you're trying to put in place. And what I mean by that is, here's an example of our safety incident trends dashboard. And one thing our clients really love the most here is these two in particular is, okay, I want to see all my incidences that are impacting me by the types of injuries and locations on the body. So here we can see that we've had 2 arm injuries, 1 hand and finger, and 1 leg. Well, if you envision this on an enterprise level across, say, 50 or 100 projects that you've been tracking over the last 2-3 years, and you see that 75% of your injuries have been arm related, and then you drill down there and say, well, they're all related to motor vehicle incidences, they're all related to our electricians, you know, and they're when they're doing high voltage cable pulls. You start digging down into the things like what time of the day. So, okay, well, our electricians are having hand injuries, and most of them are happening, you know, at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock right before lunch, or they're happening at 4:30 right before quitting time. And then lastly, you can see day of the week as well. So you can start saying, well, why is it on Friday, right before quitting time, our electricians are having such an issue with injuries on their hands? And so what this does is this allows you to have what Chris was referring to as leading indicators. It allows you to start establishing trends and say, this is where we really need to focus our initiatives at the safety level across the company. And then ultimately, reduce the number of incidences, reduce the number of injuries, and then make sure everybody's getting home safely, which is the ultimate goal. And Cloud EPC is proud to say that some of our clients are giving us great feedback that that's exactly what's happening. We have a wealth of other components in the system, auditing module. We have the ability to basically perform any on-site audit where you create the criteria yourself and perform those audits and then produce great reports. We have meeting minutes and action item tracking to allow for kind of an integrated communication and collaboration initiative. Again, like we mentioned earlier, we have the ability to run portfolio level reports. So if your organizational leaders are looking to run reports with an aggregated group of projects or by a portfolio, like I mentioned, you can run, I want to look at reports that are self-perform. I want to look at reports that are maybe just the U.S., Midwest, and Northeast. And I want a particular report that only shows, you know, greenfield projects. You can start slicing and dicing your data with those attributes any which way. So we're really proud to say the power of the system is something that our clients are really enjoying, and our ultimate goal is to let you take advantage of the data that you're already capturing. And so that's a brief demo. I know it was fairly quick, so we really appreciate those that joined in. And if there's any interest in a particular more detailed demo of a particular module within the system or just a whole demo, they usually take about an hour. And as Chris alluded to, we're happy to have you guys sign up on cloudepc.com or send us an email at info@cloudepc.com to set up a demo. I believe at this time I'll turn it back over to Chris, who I think is ready for us to take any questions if we have any, and if not, then we will we'll conclude here.
Thanks, Ben. So now we would like to turn the floor over to the audience for any questions or comments. To do so, you can use your GoToWebinar dashboard to type in your questions, and I believe there's also a feature to raise your hand if you would like to ask us directly. All right. Well, it sounds like you did a very good job, Ben.
I think we're just that good, I guess, huh?
Well, that wraps up our webinar for today. Once again, if you have any questions or
we got one here from Jim. It looks like, will this recording be published? Yes, it will.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll direct you to the right source to download that to view again. So, yeah, as I mentioned and Ben mentioned, yeah, please reach out to us on our website, or you can contact us directly by phone or email using the information displayed here on your screen. And thank you, everyone, for your time today, and we look forward to talking with you soon.